When I see holes in a leaf or insects gathering on a plant, my first reaction is not to reach for a spray. Pests are part of every healthy garden. Their presence does not automatically mean that something has gone wrong, and a damaged leaf does not always mean that a crop is in danger. For me, organic pest management is about maintaining a workable balance. I want to protect my harvest, but I also want to preserve the predators, pollinators, and other wildlife that help the garden function. That means beginning with prevention, identifying the problem correctly, and intervening only when the likely damage justifies it. The best time to deal with a garden pest is often before it arrives. Healthy plants are generally better able to tolerate limited damage. I begin by growing each crop in suitable soil, providing enough water and avoiding excessive feeding that produces soft, vulnerable growth. Plant spacing is also important. Crowded plants restrict airflow and can make inspection difficult, while stressed or weakened plants may be less able to recover from damage. I rotate susceptible annual crops where space allows. Although rotation is only one part of pest management, many insects can fly into a garden while others overwinter in surrounding vegetation or soil. I inspect new plants before introducing them into the garden or greenhouse. One purchased plant can carry aphids, eggs, larvae, or other unwanted visitors into a previously unaffected growing space. For predictable pests, I use protection before the danger period begins. Fine insect mesh can protect young brassicas, carrots, and other vulnerable crops, but it must be fitted before the pest reaches them. If flea beetles or leaf miners are already present, covering the crop may simply trap them underneath. No preventive measure can guarantee a pest-free garden. The aim is to stop a small, manageable problem from becoming a serious outbreak. Regular observation is one of the most useful things I can do. When I find damage, I examine both sides of the leaves, the growing points, stems, leaf joints, and the soil around the plant. I look for eggs, larvae, webbing, slime, droppings, and recognizable feeding patterns. The shape and position of the damage can provide important clues. However, I do not assume that the first insect I find is responsible. It may be resting on the plant, feeding on pollen, or hunting the pest that caused the damage. Ladybird and hoverfly larvae, for example, can look unfamiliar or even threatening if we do not recognize them. Plant damage can also be caused by frost, hail, wind, sun-scorched, drought, nutrient problems, or disease. Treating for insects will not correct any of those problems. This is one of the occasions when I can use the friend or foe feature in your growing companion. I can photograph an unfamiliar insect and use the identification as a starting point for deciding whether it is a pest, a beneficial predator, or a harmless visitor. I still consider the crop, damage pattern, season, and location, but identifying the insect before acting can prevent a useful garden resident from being removed unnecessarily. Even when I've confirmed the pest, I still decide whether intervention is necessary. A few aphids on an established plant or several holes in a large leaf may have very little effect on the final harvest. Seedlings and newly transplanted crops are different. A relatively small amount of feeding can destroy them or remove the growing point before they become established. I ask whether the pest population is increasing, whether the growing point is being damaged, and whether the plant is strong enough to recover. I also look for predators. If ladybirds, lacewings, or hoverfly larvae are already present among a colony of aphids, they may be beginning to control the problem for me. Biodiversity is not merely decorative, it is an important part of pest management. A garden containing flowers, shrubs, trees, water, shelter, and undisturbed spaces is more likely to support predators. Ladybirds, lacewings, and hoverfly larvae consume aphids and other small pests. Ground beetles feed on various insects and larvae. Birds, frogs, toads, spiders, parasitic wasps, and predatory bugs all contribute in different ways. These predators need more than pests. Flowering plants can provide nectar and pollen, while water, shelter, and varied vegetation help them remain in the garden. I also avoid making every area excessively tidy, particularly during winter. Dead stems, leaf litter, and undisturbed corners can provide shelter for valuable wildlife. There is usually a delay between a pest arriving and its predators responding. Aphid numbers may begin increasing before the ladybirds and hoverfly larvae appear. If I immediately spray every aphid colony, I may remove the food source before the predators can become established. The treatment may also kill those predators through direct contact. Even products described as organic can disrupt this natural process. When action becomes necessary, I normally begin with a physical method. I can remove clearly identified pests and eggs by hand, wash aphids from sturdy plants with water, or remove one badly infested leaf or shoot. Slugs and snails can be collected after dark or during damp weather when they are more active. Boards and similar shelters can also act as collection points. Where dense clusters of insects gather, careful vacuuming may sometimes be practical, provided it can be done without damaging the crop or creating a safety risk. Fine mesh and fleece can protect vulnerable plants. Collars can help around certain seedlings, and individual high-value plants can be protected without covering or treating the entire garden. Physical barriers do, however, have limitations. Copper, wool, grit, and eggshells are often promoted as reliable slug barriers, but their effectiveness varies with moisture, installation, and local conditions. No barrier should be treated as guaranteed protection. Slugs may cross uncomfortable materials. Slugs may cross uncomfortable materials when food or shelter is available on the other side. Flea beetles may already be beneath a crop cover, and leaf miner larvae remain protected inside the leaf. Traps also need careful consideration. A poorly designed or neglected trap may capture beneficial wildlife. Physical controls work best as part of a wider strategy. Chemical-free methods are not always enough, and there may be situations where I consider an organic treatment. The important thing to remember is that organic and natural do not automatically mean harmless. Soaps, oils, neem-based products, and biological treatments can all have a useful role. Some work only through direct contact. Others are most effective against young larvae and provide little control once the insect has matured. A treatment can scorch sensitive foliage, particularly when applied too strongly or during hot sunny weather. It may also affect pollinators, natural predators, aquatic life, or other organisms. I follow the product label, including its application rate, permitted crops, harvest interval, and environmental precautions. Regulations vary between countries. I treat homemade mixtures with the same caution. If I use one, I measure the ingredients accurately and test a small area first. Different pests also require different responses. Aphids gather on tender shoots and beneath leaves. A small colony can often be reduced with water or selective removal. Flea beetles create numerous small holes and are particularly dangerous to seedlings. Preventive protection with fine insect mesh is often more useful than trying to treat an established problem. Leaf miners create pale trails or blotches inside leaves. Because the larvae feed within the leaf tissue, surface sprays may not reach them. Removing badly affected leaves can therefore be more effective, provided enough healthy foliage remains. Slugs and snails are influenced by moisture, shelter, and weather. I concentrate protection around seedlings and newly transplanted crops rather than trying to eliminate every slug from the garden. Caterpillars must be identified before they are removed. Some can cause severe damage to food crops, but others will become valuable moths or butterflies. I consider which plant is being eaten and whether the growing point is threatened. Colorado potato beetles require regular monitoring. I inspect potato plants for adults, orange egg clusters beneath the leaves, and young larvae. Early action is far easier than controlling an established population. Removing eggs and young larvae can prevent a rapid increase in damage. Blister beetles, locusts, and other mobile pests present a different challenge. During favorable weather, they can arrive suddenly and in numbers that exceed what one gardener can realistically control. Blister beetles should never be handled with bare hands because they can release a substance that causes skin blistering. I have experienced blister beetles moving from wild plants onto beetroot and then attacking tomatoes and peppers. During an event like that, I prioritize valuable plants, remove dense clusters where it is safe and practical, and protect whatever I can. Sometimes the honest answer is that every plant cannot be saved. Organic pest management is not a promise that I will always have complete control. During a large mobile outbreak, the most realistic response may be to limit the losses, rescue unaffected plants, and learn from what happened. Weather and climate have a major influence on pest pressure. Mild winters may allow larger numbers of pests to survive. Warm springs can accelerate reproduction, while prolonged wet weather creates favorable conditions for slugs and snails. Hot, dry conditions may suppress some pests, but encourage others. Changing conditions can also allow unfamiliar insects to appear. That's why I pay attention to when pests first appear and how their behavior changes with the weather. This is the second way I use your growing companion. I can record the affected crop, growing space, and timing of an outbreak. Those records help me recognize patterns and decide whether a crop needs earlier protection. Ultimately, my goal is not to remove every insect, caterpillar, slug, or snail. A completely undamaged organic garden is neither realistic nor necessarily desirable. A small pest population provides food for predators, and a few imperfect leaves rarely affect the harvest. Intervention becomes justified when pests threaten to kill young plants. The response should match the scale of the problem. Sometimes that means waiting and observing. Sometimes it means hand removal or fitting a barrier. Occasionally, it means using a carefully selected treatment. If you would like more detailed guidance, Each subject covered in this video has its own complete guide at diaryofanorganicgrower.com. For me, successful organic pest management comes down to 3 things. Identify correctly, act proportionately, and remember that protecting the wider life of the garden is part of protecting the crop itself. Happy growing! Visit diaryofanorganicgrower.com for the complete guide.